She arrived before sunrise, when the streets were quiet and the air was cold. The alien mother stood at the edge of a small human town, her cloak pulled tight around her thin body. In her arms she carried a child wrapped in soft, layered fabric that shimmered faintly in the dim light. The child did not cry. It only breathed slowly, as if listening to the world. She looked at the first house. Then she walked forward and knocked. The sound was soft, careful, as if she feared the door might break or the people inside might shatter. No one answered. She waited. She always waited. Time meant little to her now. After a while, she moved to the next house and knocked again. This was how it began. This was how it would continue for 3 long years. The alien mother had crossed stars, borders, and dangers humans could not imagine. But standing on Earth, knocking on simple wooden doors, felt harder than surviving space. Here, every door carried hope, and every closed door carried pain. When humans opened their doors, their reactions were never the same. Some screamed and slammed the door shut. Some stared in silence, fear filling their eyes. A few raised weapons. A few tried to take pictures. Some shouted for authorities. Some laughed, thinking it was a trick. She did not argue. She did not beg loudly. She only spoke one sentence, always the same, in careful human language she had learned slowly. "I am looking for the one who can help my child live." That was all. Most humans did not understand. Or they pretended not to. The governments noticed her within weeks. Drones followed her. Officials approached her with forced smiles and hidden fear. They asked questions, many questions. Where are you from? What do you want? Is the child dangerous? She answered only what mattered. My child is dying. I need a human who will choose without wanting power. They did not like that answer. They offered laboratories, guarded facilities, safe rooms. Scientists wanted to study the child. Military leaders wanted control. Politicians wanted advantage. The alien mother refused them all. Each refusal cost her safety. Each refusal made life harder. Soon, she was pushed away from cities and told to move on. She was called a threat, a liar, a distraction. Still, she knocked. She walked through rain, snow, heat, and dust. Her body grew weaker with time. Her species was not made for Earth's gravity, and every step hurt. Still, she carried the child with steady arms. The child never cried. Sometimes it looked at humans with large, thoughtful eyes. Sometimes lights moved softly under its skin, like stars trapped beneath flesh. When humans looked too closely, the lights dimmed as if hiding. At night, the mother whispered stories to the child in her own language. Stories of skies made of color. Of worlds where kindness once existed. Of mistakes she could never undo. She blamed herself most of all. Years ago, on a distant world, she had believed in rules and leaders. She had trusted her people to protect the child. She had been wrong. Fear had turned her kind cruel. They had seen the child not as life but as value, so she ran. She ran with nothing but the child and a truth that burned inside her. Power always destroys what it tries to own. Humans were different, not better, not purer, just different. That difference was why she came. She had studied humanity from afar. Their wars, their kindness, their contradictions. Humans hurt each other terribly, but they also helped strangers for no reward. They adopted animals not their own. They mourned those they never met. They chose love even when it made no sense. The child needed that, but finding it was harder than she imagined. As months turned into years, the world grew tired of her story. News channels stopped calling. People stopped pointing. She became background noise, a rumor, a strange figure some remembered seeing once. The alien mother aged faster than humans expected. Her skin lost color. Her steps slowed. Sometimes she had to rest between houses, leaning against walls, breathing through pain. Still, she knocked. In small villages, she was given water. In poor towns, she was offered food. In rich places, she was given money she did not want. She accepted only what kept the child alive. Once, a human woman invited her inside and offered warmth. The mother felt hope rise, but when the woman asked what the child could do, the light beneath the child's skin flickered uneasily. The mother left that night. Another time, a man offered protection, saying he would keep them safe. But when he spoke, his thoughts were loud and sharp, filled with ownership. The mother left again. Each door taught her something. Each failure hurt but also narrowed the path. The child grew weaker. It slept more. The lights dimmed more often. The mother felt it through a bond deeper than words. The child reacted not to medicine, not to machines, but to choice, to intention, to how it was seen. On the 1,000th door, the mother collapsed. Humans gathered around her, shouting, filming, arguing. Emergency vehicles arrived. She was taken to a hospital. The child was placed in a sealed room. Machines beeped. Humans spoke quickly. Doctors tried to help, but help without understanding only made things worse. The child's lights faded dangerously. Alarms sounded. Panic filled the room. With what little strength she had left, the mother sat up and spoke clearly. "Do not try to save my child," she said. "Choose my child." They did not understand the difference. The child survived that day, but barely. The mother left the hospital before sunrise unnoticed. After that, she stopped trusting crowds. She knocked on quieter doors, older homes, isolated places, people who did not rush to ask questions. 3 years passed. Her steps were slow now. Her vision blurred sometimes. Earth's sun felt heavy on her skin, but the child was still alive, and that was enough. One evening, as the sky turned orange near a forgotten coastline, she reached a small town most maps ignored. The sea air carried salt and memory. Old houses lined narrow roads. Lights glowed softly behind windows. She stopped in front of a modest home. The paint was chipped. The door was plain. The child stirred slightly in her arms. The mother felt something she had not felt in a long time: stillness. Not excitement, not fear, just quiet. She raised her hand and knocked. The door opened slowly. A human stood there, not surprised, not afraid, just tired. Their eyes moved first to the child, then to the mother's face. "You look like you need help," the human said. No cameras, no shouting, no questions about power. The mother's knees weakened. "I have been looking for 3 years," she said softly. "May I come in?" The human stepped aside without hesitation. "Yes," they said. "Of course." As the door closed behind them, the child's lights brightened, just a little. For the first time in 3 years, the alien mother allowed herself to believe that the knocking might finally be over. Part 2. 1,600 words Kaleko, or interesting Hunachea, or third-person style, Ma Lekni Ha, or simple basic English Ka, or violated free Hona Chai, without short heading. The human did not ask questions right away. That surprised the alien mother more than anything else. Inside the small house, the air was warm and smelled faintly of old wood and salt from the sea. The human closed the door gently, as if loud sounds might hurt someone. They pointed toward a chair near a table. "Please sit," the human said. The alien mother lowered herself slowly, careful not to disturb the child. Her arms trembled as she settled into the chair. The child's eyes were open now, watching the room with quiet focus. Soft light moved beneath its skin, slow and steady, like breathing stars. The human noticed the light but did not react strongly. No sudden movements, no sharp breath, just a small pause, then a nod. "I'll get water," the human said. They returned with a glass and placed it within reach. The alien mother drank carefully. The water tasted simple, clean. She had forgotten how much comfort existed in small kindness. "My name is Mara," the human said after a moment. "You don't have to tell me yours if you don't want to." The alien mother studied her face. Lines of age, of loss, of long days. Eyes that had seen disappointment and survived it. "I am called Sira," the alien mother said. "This is my child." Mara nodded again. "Your child is welcome here." No hesitation. Something inside Sira tightened painfully. She lowered her gaze so the human would not see the emotion rise too fast. The child shifted slightly. The light beneath its skin brightened, responding to the calm in the room. Sira felt it through their bond, like a quiet sigh of relief. They stayed like that for a long time, speaking little. The house creaked softly. Outside, the waves moved against the shore. For the first time in years, Sira did not feel hunted. When Mara finally spoke again, her voice was gentle. "You look very tired." Sira smiled weakly. "I am. You can rest here," Mara said. "No one will bother you tonight." Sira wanted to believe her. She wanted it more than anything. Still, fear lived deep in her bones. "They will come," Sira said. "They always do." "Who?" Mara asked. "Those who want what my child is," Sira replied. Mara leaned back against the table. "And what is your child?" Sira met her eyes. "Alive." Mara blinked, then let out a quiet breath. "That makes sense." That answer almost broke Sira. Later, when the child slept in a nest of blankets Mara had brought out, Sira spoke more, slowly, carefully. She did not explain everything. Not yet, but she spoke of running, of doors, of humans who saw value before life. Mara listened. She did not interrupt. She did not offer solutions she did not understand. She only listened. When Sira finished, Mara rubbed her hands together, thinking. "You don't want protection," Mara said. "You want choice." "Yes," Sira said. "My child cannot be saved by force. Only by someone who chooses care without reason." Mara nodded. "That's hard." "Yes." "And dangerous," Mara added. "Yes." Mara looked toward the sleeping child. The light beneath its skin pulsed faintly, steady now. "I don't know if I'm the one you're looking for." Sira felt the familiar pain return. "I do not know either," she said. "I only know I must knock." Mara smiled sadly. "You can stay tonight. We'll see what tomorrow brings." That night, Sira slept deeply for the first time in years. She dreamed of doors that opened. The next days passed quietly, too quietly. Mara lived a simple life. She repaired boats for fishermen, fixed nets, and sold small tools. She did not talk much. People in town knew her but did not pry into her business. She had lost her family years ago to an accident at sea. Since then, she had learned how to live with absence. Sira watched her closely. Mara fed the child without asking what it ate. When the child reacted badly to certain foods, Mara adjusted without complaint. When the child woke frightened at night, Mara sat nearby without touching, offering presence instead of control. The light beneath the child's skin grew brighter. Sira felt both hope and fear. Hope because the child responded. Fear because response meant attention. On the fourth day, Sira felt it, a pressure in the air, a tightening of space. "They are close," she said softly. Mara looked up from repairing a net. "Who?" "Others," Sira replied. "Not human." As if summoned by the words, the lights flickered. The child stirred uneasily. That evening the sky darkened unnaturally fast. The sea grew still. Birds fell silent. Mara stepped outside and looked up. Above the clouds something moved. Not a ship humans would recognize. No engines. No lights. Just a distortion in the sky, like reality being folded. Sira stood beside her. "They have found us." Mara did not panic. She did not run inside or call authorities. She simply asked, "What do they want?" "The child," Sira said. "They will say it is for balance, for order, for survival." "And you?" Mara asked. "I want my child to live free," Sira said. Mara nodded slowly. "Then we should talk." That night representatives arrived. They did not land. They appeared, forming shapes humans could see but not fully understand. Voices filled the air without mouths. Cold, precise. "Return the asset," the voices said. "It does not belong here." Mara stood in front of Sira and the child without thinking. "This is my home," Mara said. "You don't belong here." The voices paused. "Human," they replied, "this matter is beyond you." Mara felt fear then. Real fear, but she did not step aside. "Everything is beyond us until it isn't," she said. "You don't get to take a child because it's useful." "The child is not a child," the voices said. "It is a stabilizing organism, a necessity." Sira stepped forward. "It is my child." Silence followed. "The human cannot protect it," the voices said. Your species cannot comprehend the consequences. Mara laughed softly without humor. We don't comprehend a lot of things, doesn't stop us from caring. The child's light surged. The air vibrated. The voices hesitated. This bond is forming too quickly, they said. This is dangerous. Yes, Sira said, that is why you fear it. The entities withdrew slightly, their shapes blurring. We will return, they said. Humanity will choose, or we will choose for them. When the presence vanished, the night returned all at once. Waves crashed loudly, birds cried, the world exhaled. Mara sat heavily on the steps, her hands shook. Okay, she said, that was a lot. Sira lowered herself beside her. I am sorry. Mara looked at the child, now calm again, light glowing warmly. Don't be, I think I understand now. Understand what? Sira asked. Mara swallowed. Why you knocked for so long? She looked at Sira seriously. You weren't looking for someone strong. You were looking for someone who would stand in front of something terrifying and say no. Sira nodded slowly. Yes. Mara took a deep breath. Then you might want to stay a little longer. The child reached out, small fingers brushing Mara's sleeve. The light flared bright and steady. Outside, far beyond the stars, forces older than humanity began to watch Earth with something new. Concern. Part 3. 1600 words ka leko, or interesting hunachea, or third-person style. Ma lekni ha, or simple basic English ka, or violated free hona chai without short-heading morning came slowly, as if the world itself was unsure whether it should continue as normal. Sunlight touched the sea first, then crawled across the quiet town. Fishermen stepped out of their homes and paused, sensing something wrong but unable to name it. The air felt heavy, tight, like a held breath. Inside the small house, Sira was already awake. She sat near the window, holding her child close. The child was awake too, eyes open, light beneath its skin moving faster than before, not in fear but in awareness. They are watching, Sira whispered. Mara poured hot water into a cup and handed it to her. From where? Everywhere, Sira said. From beyond your sky, from places your kind has not yet named. Mara sat across from her, rubbing her tired eyes. She had slept little. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the sky fold in on itself again. So what happens now? Mara asked. Sira hesitated. Now humanity is tested, Mara frowned. Humanity didn't ask for this. No, Sira said softly, but neither did my child. Outside, the town slowly woke. A neighbor passed by and waved. Mara waved back, trying to look normal. The small house looked the same as it always had, but inside it the weight of galaxies pressed against fragile walls. By midday the sky changed, not suddenly, not dramatically, just enough that people noticed. Clouds formed strange lines. Shadows fell the wrong way. Compasses failed. Electronics flickered, then died. Phones stopped working. Fear spread faster than understanding. Mara stood outside with Sira and the child as people gathered in the street. Someone pointed upward. Someone prayed. Someone shouted that this was punishment. Then the sky opened. Not with fire, not with sound. Reality simply moved aside. Shapes emerged, vast and cold, layered in forms human eyes struggled to focus on. They did not land. They did not descend. They existed above, pressing against the world like thoughts too big for a mind. A voice filled the town, not loud but impossible to ignore. Humanity, it said, this matter exceeds your authority, people screamed. Some fell to their knees, others ran. Mara did not move. She stepped forward, placing herself between the beings and Sira without thinking. Her legs shook, but she stayed upright. You keep saying that, Mara said, her voice carrying despite the fear. But you're talking to us, so clearly we matter. There was a pause. Sira felt the pressure increase. The child's light surged, reacting to the tension. The organism must be returned, the voice said. Its presence destabilizes higher-order systems. Sira stepped forward. It stabilizes them. You just do not want to lose control. The voice shifted. You fled with stolen potential. I fled with my child, Sira said. There is a difference. The beings projected images into the air, dying stars, collapsing systems, worlds consumed by chaos. This is the cost, the voice said. One life can save billions. Murmurs spread through the crowd. Mara felt it then, the pull, the logic, the terrible simplicity of the argument. One child for countless lives, it would have been easy to agree. That was why Sira feared this moment. Mara turned to the people around her, fishermen, old women, children holding parents' hands. They're asking us to decide, she said loudly, not because we're smart enough, but because we're the kind who chooses. A man shouted, if it saves everyone, why not? Mara nodded. That's the right question. She looked back at the beings. But here's another one. Who gets to decide whose child is worth less? Silence fell. The child cried out softly for the first time. The sound cut through the air like a blade. Mara's heart clenched. She looked down at the small being trembling in Sira's arms. It's afraid, she said. The organism reacts to moral conflict, the voice said. Then maybe listen to it, Mara replied. The child's light flared brighter, spreading outward in gentle waves. People felt warmth wash over them. Memories surfaced of holding children, of loss, of promises broken and kept. The beings recoiled slightly. This is unacceptable, the voice said. The bond is accelerating. Yes, Sira said, because humans do not see tools first. Mara spoke again, her voice shaking but firm. You came here thinking we'd hand it over, that we'd do the math and be done, she gestured to the child. But this isn't math, this is life. The sky darkened further. Humanity must choose, the voice said, compliance or consequence. At that moment, something unexpected happened. An old fisherman stepped forward. I lost my son, he said quietly. Sea took him. No reason, no balance. He looked up at the sky. You don't get to make up for your failures by taking someone else's child. Another voice joined him, then another. A woman said, if the universe needs monsters to survive, maybe it shouldn't. A teenager shouted, find another way. The crowd grew louder. Not in panic, but in refusal. Mara felt tears in her eyes. She hadn't asked them to do this. She hadn't planned it, but humanity had spoken. The being's shapes shifted violently. You are choosing extinction, the voice said. No, Mara said. We're choosing responsibility. The child's light exploded outward, not violently, but powerfully. The air vibrated. The pressure vanished. The beings pulled back suddenly, their forms destabilizing. This changes nothing, they said. We will act. Before anyone could respond, the sky closed. Everything returned at once. Sound, wind, motion. People collapsed in exhaustion. Some cried. Some laughed in disbelief. Sira fell to her knees. The child glowed steadily now, brighter than ever before. It has begun, Sira whispered. The bond is complete. Mara knelt beside her. What does that mean? Sira looked at her with awe and fear mixed together. It means my child has chosen humanity. That night the world did not sleep. Across the planet strange things happened. Old machines rebooted with new efficiency. Storms weakened. Fault lines settled. Scientists would later argue for decades. But in the small coastal town, Mara sat beside Sira, watching the child sleep peacefully for the first time. They'll come back, Mara said quietly. Yes, Sira replied, but not as masters. Mara looked out at the dark sea. Good. High above, beyond human sight, ancient forces watched Earth differently now. Not as a resource, not as a mistake, but as a species that had just done the most dangerous thing in the universe. Chosen compassion over survival math, and refused to let go. Part 4. 1600 words ka leko or interesting hunachea or third-person style, ma lekni ha or simple basic English ka or violated free hona chai, without short heading the world changed quietly after that night. There were no explosions, no sudden miracles that fixed everything. The sun still rose, the sea still moved, people still worried about money, weather, and tomorrow, but something deep had shifted. In the small coastal town, Sira felt it first. The air felt lighter around her child. The light beneath the child's skin no longer flickered in pain or fear. It flowed smoothly now, like a calm river. The child slept deeply, breathing slow and steady. Sira watched, afraid to blink. For years she had lived with fear pressed against her heart, fear of being found, fear of choosing wrong, fear of losing the child to a universe that only saw value, not life. Now that fear was still there, but softer. Mara sat nearby, cleaning a small table that did not really need cleaning. Her hands moved just to stay busy. Every few minutes she looked at the child as if checking that it was still real. "So," Mara said finally, "what happens next?" Sira thought carefully before answering. "Now my child grows." "And the others?" Mara asked. "The ones in the sky?" "They will not stop watching," Sira said, "but they cannot take what is chosen freely." Mara frowned. "That didn't stop them before." "No," Sira agreed. "But now they are afraid." Mara looked surprised. "Afraid of a child?" Sira shook her head slowly. "Afraid of humans." Over the following days, the world reacted. News spread fast once technology returned. Videos of the sky opening, stories of voices speaking from nowhere. Governments argued. Scientists demanded access. Military leaders prepared plans they did not fully understand. Representatives came to the town. They spoke politely. They offered protection. They offered relocation. Mara listened to them all, then she said no. "She's not property," Mara said, standing beside Sira. "Neither of them are." Some officials grew angry. Others looked uncomfortable. A few looked relieved, as if they were glad someone else had said what they could not. The child reacted strongly whenever people argued nearby. Lights flared sharply. Electronics failed. Instruments broke. Eventually, the officials stopped pushing. Not because they fully agreed, but because they felt something watching them when they tried. Sira noticed changes in the child every day. It learned quickly. Not words at first, but feelings. It reacted to kindness instantly. When someone acted with greed or fear, the light dimmed. It was not judging. It was learning. One night, Sira grew very weak. Her body had carried the strain for too long. Earth's gravity, fear, and years of running had taken their toll. She collapsed quietly beside the child's bed. Mara found her moments later. "Sira," Mara said urgently. Sira opened her eyes slowly. "It is time," she whispered. Mara's heart dropped. "Time for what?" "For me to stop," Sira said gently. Mara shook her head. "No. We'll find doctors. Sira lifted a trembling hand. "Listen to me," Mara froze. "My child does not need me anymore," Sira said. "That was always the truth I feared." Tears filled Mara's eyes. "But you're its mother." "Yes," Sira said softly, "and I did my duty." The child stirred, sensing the shift. It reached out, small fingers touching Sira's hand. The light flared warm and strong. Sira smiled. "You chose well," she whispered. "I am not afraid anymore." The child pressed closer, light flowing into Sira gently. Not to save her, but to comfort her. Sira's breathing slowed, then stopped. Mara did not cry at first. She just sat there, holding Sira's hand, feeling the quiet settle. Outside, the sea went still. The child cried then, not loudly, just a soft sound of loss. Mara gathered the child into her arms. "I've got you," she whispered, though she did not know how. Across the galaxy something reacted. Ancient systems felt a pulse they could not ignore, not destructive, not violent, decisive. The beings who had watched humanity before gathered again. "This outcome was not predicted," one said. "The organism has bonded beyond expected parameters," another replied. "It no longer belongs to any single species," a third observed. Silence followed. "It belongs to humanity," one said finally. "Correction," another responded. "It belongs to choice." Back on Earth, the child grew, not quickly, not unnaturally. It grew at a pace that felt right. Mara raised it like any human child, with patience, with mistakes, with love. The child learned words, learned laughter, learned sadness. When storms threatened, they weakened. When earthquakes built pressure, they eased, not instantly, but enough. The child did not control the universe. It listened to it. Humanity noticed patterns. Where people worked together, things improved. Where cruelty ruled, nothing changed. The message was subtle but clear. Years passed. Humanity changed slowly, as it always did. But this time it had a reason that reached beyond survival. They were being watched not by judges but by a child who learned from example. Mara grew older. One evening, as the sun set over the sea, the child, now taller, brighter, wiser, stood beside her. "They will come again," the child said calmly. Mara nodded. "I figured." "And this time they will ask," the child continued. "Good," Mara said. "Asking is better than taking." The sky shimmered faintly far above. The universe had learned something dangerous, that humans, when faced with impossible choices, might choose compassion over logic. That they would protect a single life even when the stars demanded sacrifice. And that once chosen, they would never let go. Somewhere, long beyond Earth, ancient powers rewrote their expectations, because an alien mother had knocked on human doors for 3 years. And humanity had finally opened one, not with power but with care. And the universe would never forget that.